All right, Kristen, thank you. Here now with some perspective on these types of situations, we welcome Ray Pruitt, former public information officer for the Kern County Sheriff's Office, now an investigator for the local law firm of Cohn and Stiles. Ray, good to see you. What does it mean when law enforcement mobilizes like this and deploys this mobile command post? Is that significant?
Well, it means they're in it for the long haul. They've obviously developed some information or received some information. I would assume at this point it's safe to assume that there's either a body or some human remains in the area. So they're proceeding forward and they're in it for the long haul. And it would appear that they're expending all resources as the result of this investigation.
And as Kristen just reported, this is county and normally KCSO's jurisdiction. What does that tell you when the BPD comes in to take the lead on what amounts to an excavation process here?
Well, it tells you that the initial investigation started with the Bakersfield Police Department, and we don't know at this point if it's a missing person, if it's a homicide investigation. There's a lot we don't know, but it tells you that the investigation started with the Bakersfield Police Department, so they have jurisdiction.
And do you anticipate they'll be out there at night? Obviously, it's dark out there. They'd have to bring in lights, extra equipment. Do you think they would be out there all night long?
Depends on what they find. I mean, if they do come across something, they may continue throughout the night. They have the resources to do that. They can bring in lighting, additional personnel, but a lot of it depends on if they find anything. If they don't, they may discontinue the search until tomorrow.
And we saw video there of investigators using some kind of handheld like sifting devices, and that's normally just to look through the dirt and see what's mixed in with the dirt, any bone fragments or pieces of evidence. What is the process there?
Yeah, that's typical. They'll sift. They have manual sifters. It's a screen, thin screening, and they'll sift through the dirt just to see if they can come across any bone fragments, bones, skin, hair, clothing, anything that might be associated with a body, which we can assume at this point that's what they're looking for.
And it looks like you're doing it a shovel or two at a time. It must be a very tedious process.
It's extremely tedious and it's very time-consuming. Crime scene investigators take their time. They section off small areas and they do small areas at a time. And they want to make sure that they're very thorough. So yes, it's a very long process and a very tedious process.
As Kristen also mentioned, there's several cold cases, some of the moms out there as well from the missing persons there. Is it safe to assume that they are in fact maybe got a tip from somebody about that particular scene, because it is, you know, right off the beaten path and kind of out in the middle of nowhere?
It's obvious they received some information that they believe is credible. They would not have expended this amount of resources unless they had some credible information or some evidence that there's a body or some remains in that area.
All right, Ray Pruitt, former PIO with the KCSO and now private investigator for Cohn and Stiles. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, sir.